been almost 20 years since the body of Kirsty Jones was discovered in a Thai guest house, and yet her family are no closer to finding justice. In August 2000, Kirsty was only 23 years old and had embarked on the adventure of a lifetime. She'd grown up in the Welsh village of Llanfilo and recently graduated from the University of Liverpool. Hard years of study behind her, Kirsty set off on a 2-year round-the-world trip. Like many young travellers, she had saved money through odd jobs and once on the road sought the cheapest accommodation to stretch her finances as far as was possible. Only 3 months in, and she found herself in Chiang Mai, a town in the mountainous north of Thailand. Known for its Buddhist temples and relaxed lifestyle, it has long attracted travellers from all over the world. It was here she checked into the Ari guest house, an establishment so cheap it charged as little as $1 a night for a bed and a room. Later, media reports covering Kirsty's death would describe the Ari as one of the grottier guest houses in town. The previous year, it had been closed down for 6 months after a backpacker died of a heroin overdose there. The Ari was the kind of place that attracted travellers down on their luck and with no particular place to go, and some, like Kirsty, young, naive, and in need for the lowest possible cost place to stay. On the evening of August the 9th, 2000, Kirsty settled into her room on the ground floor of the Ari. At least 8 other people were there that night as well, including the owner, a British man named Andrew Gill. Also present was Surin Chanpranit, the guest house's Thai manager, who also ran a massage school in the upstairs half of the Ari. And so was Stephen Trigg, 27, a bearded British backpacker who had been on the road for 4 years by the time he arrived in Chiang Mai. It was Stephen who first heard Kirsty's screams. He was in his room when her cries split through the night. "Leave me alone! Leave me alone! Get off me! Get off me!" rang through the guest house. Stephen, a strong, fit young man, ran towards the commotion. So too did the manager, Surin. They arrived at Kirsty's door. Now all was silent. The 2 men stood outside, uncertain what to do next. Hearing nothing further, the 2 men looked at each other, shrugged, and turned away. A week later, Stephen would give an interview to Australia's ABC radio. He said that both he and Surin assumed that what they heard was a domestic dispute, something which happened fairly often between travelling couples staying in seedy backpack establishments. A transcript of Stephen's interview on the World Today program has survived. He explains the decision that he and Surin made to walk away from Kirsty's closed and now silent door. "Well, we saw nothing, we heard nothing. We heard some shouting, we came downstairs. There was no lights, nothing was happening, so we just presumed it was a lover's quarrel and that it had been sorted out, and they sort of become lovey-dovey again, and so we went back to bed again." It was not until 4 p.m. the following day that Kirsty's body was officially discovered by a maid and the police alerted. It soon turned out that Kirsty's death had become known to residents of the Ari hours earlier. According to a Guardian report at the time, the maid soon told the police she had lied about when she found the body, a full night and most of the day after her screams had been heard. The maid said she had been lent upon to give a false statement. Police in turn would suspect the manager Surin made the discovery 5 hours earlier. At around noon on August 10, Surin returned to Kirsty's room. She had not shown herself at breakfast, nor had she made arrangements to check out. Using his master key, he opened the door. In front of him was Kirsty, sprawled naked, face down on the bed. Surin turned away in shock and hurried to tell his boss, Andy Gill. It's unclear whether he pulled the door closed behind him. It seems likely that in his haste, Surin fled from the room without locking it again behind him. In the hours that followed, word quickly spread that a dead foreigner was lying in a ground floor room of the Ari. Curious looky-loos showed up. So did several Thai journalists who took photos, stepping around the room to get the best angle. Several photos of Kirsty's body would appear in Thai publications the next day. By the time the police arrived, it was the worst possible start to a forensic investigation. Evidence had been moved and trampled upon as people had come and gone. For Andy, the dead girl in his hotel presented an immediate problem. His visa had expired, and contact with the police would expose this fact. Andy had a reputation in the local expatriate community as having a fondness for the bottle. The UK publication, the Daily Telegraph, described Andy as a heavy drinker with many woman friends among the local Thai population. And, characteristically, Andy spent the next few hours pondering his dilemma over a bottle or two. Finally, at 4 p.m. he sent for the police and told them a maid had found a body. A medical report released the day after Kirsty's body was discovered showed she had been raped and strangled. From the outset, Thai police said that the perpetrator had to be a foreigner. News reports at the time quote police officials who said that no Thai national would be capable of this type of. This is a recurring pattern with police in the country when under pressure to close a high-profile case. Police quickly focused on Andy, one of the last people to have seen Kirsty alive. 2 days after Kirsty's death, Andy disappeared. Police eventually tracked him down to a Chiang Mai bar and arrested him. DNA was taken from Andy, along with 11 other people who had been in the arree. This was compared to DNA found on Kirsty's body, believed to be from her rapist and killer. The results of the DNA test came back, and all 11 people tested, including Andy Gill, came up negative. Police, however, were undeterred and wanted to press ahead with charges against the hapless Andy Gill. According to The Guardian, Aram Chanfen, a police commander of the northern Thailand region, insisted that scientific tests and witness accounts proved Andy's guilt. "We are confident we are on the right track. There is no mystery anymore." But 2 months later, police had no option but to release Andy. An alibi that he had been drinking at various bars that night checked out. Witnesses saw Andy all around town. And there was the matter of DNA found on Kirsty that clearly was not his. There simply was no case against the British man.
Everybody can get it. Everybody can get it. What do you feel? I feel very relieved that common sense has prevailed in this situation and it's vindicated me of the crime.
You still think you are innocent?
Without any doubt, yes, innocent.
Police also suspected a Burmese tour guide who had led Kirsty on a hill trek a few days before. Abraham Narong, 34 years old, claimed that he was abducted by police a few days after Kirsty's murder and taken to a private house. There, Abraham was beaten repeatedly and told to confess. Police also demanded that he provide a sperm sample, which he refused to do. Abraham would eventually tell journalists he was sexually assaulted by his interrogators in an attempt to get him to provide a sperm sample. It has been speculated that as police came under intense pressure to close the case, they considered providing a scapegoat and to contaminate Kirsty's remains with his semen. This would link him to her rape and subsequent murder. Abraham's interrogators eventually gave up when other Burmese guides staged a protest in the streets of Chiang Mai. The protests had caught the attention of foreign correspondents that had begun to arrive to report on Kirsty's death. Thai police had no choice but to free Abraham, who was quietly put in a car and dumped on a Chiang Mai street. Later, police would issue a formal apology for his treatment. Following Andy's release, the hunt for Kirsty's killer faded. Over the years, friends and family kept up pressure on both Thai police and UK authorities to find her attacker. Welsh police also lent assistance to the investigation, travelling to Thailand to meet with investigators on the case, but year after year, no arrests were made.
Well, as you say, it's 11 years since the tragic death and murder of Kirsty in Chiang Mai, and David Powys continues to press and work very hard with the Royal Thai Police to actually try and bring a successful conclusion to what we believe is a detectable case.
In 2012, Welsh police were given access to evidence, including Kirsty's clothes. New DNA techniques were used to study the samples taken from Kirsty's body. Welsh forensics discovered that the genetic profile of Kirsty's killer was that of a Thai man, most likely from the Chiang Mai area. 3 years later, in 2015, a £10,000 reward was offered.
We are so grateful to the DSI for the work they continue to do to find the person responsible for Kirsty's death. We are also glad that David Powys Police continue to offer support in the investigation.
Still, no further leads have emerged. There was a peculiar video uploaded on YouTube in 2011 titled "Murder Covered Up by the Thai Tourist Police." In the brief clip, an Australian man says he had knowledge that could lead to Kirsty's killer, who he claimed was a lecturer at Chiang Mai University.
This is a teacher from the Chiang Mai University. I have enough reason to believe that he killed a young Welsh lady back in 2000. He is the younger brother of the inspector of the tourist police at the time of the murder. The DSI has all the details, but they will not act just in case I am wrong. I won't be taking this off the internet until the British Embassy oversees a DNA test on this lecturer from the university.
Welsh police acknowledged that they were aware of the man's claim.
There have been claims made on YouTube recently around a suspect. What have you done around that with that information?
Well, we are aware that an Australian national placed a short clip on YouTube naming a person from the Chiang Mai area that was believed to be responsible for Kirsty's death, or certainly involved. And we've passed that information to the Royal Thai Police, and we ask that they fully investigate that to either eliminate or implicate that particular person, and we await the outcome of that inquiry.
To date, Thai police have not responded to any requests. It has also been suggested that Kirsty's death could be linked to an earlier murder that same year. In February 2000, Australian backpacker Cherie McFarlane and her boyfriend Calvin Burke were travelling in northern Thailand in the Chiang Mai area. After pitching their tent one evening, they were attacked by several men. Calvin was stabbed to death. Cherie was raped, stabbed and left for dead. Police quickly arrested 2 Hill tribesmen of foreign origin. These men were put on trial, based on a confession that they would later claim was beaten out of them. Eventually, DNA evidence cleared them of all charges and they were released. To this day, the attackers of Cherie and Calvin have not been identified. Another video that appeared online in 2015 accuses the Thai police of singling out foreigners when under pressure to solve high-profile cases. An individual claiming to be a member of the collective Anonymous said Kirsty's case could be linked to the attack on Cherie and Calvin.
Anonymous would like to recommend to the 2 parents of both victims in these cases, find out if the DNA of both cases are matched and put new pressure on the Thai police to reopen these cases to bring justice and peace to both parents.
Anonymous's video was in response to the conviction of 2 Burmese men who were sentenced to death for the killing of 2 British backpackers the year before. 23-year-old Hannah Witheridge and 24-year-old David Miller had been murdered on the island of Koh Tao. As in many previous cases, the Thai police arrested and secured the conviction of foreigners, in spite of questions around the way evidence was collected and presented in court. As for Kirsty, questions as to who her attacker or attackers were remain. In March 2018, her mother Sue began a campaign to have Kirsty's belongings, including her backpack and clothes, returned to Wales. These are currently in a Thai police evidence room, where they are clearly of no use to local detectives. Kirsty's family's Member of Parliament backed the campaign to repatriate her belongings to Britain. This would let Welsh police carry out extensive testing to see if they hold any further clues as to the identity of her killer. Chris Davies, Brecon and Radnorshire MP, told BBC Radio Wales, "Kirsty's belongings are still in Thailand. They haven't even been sent home to her parents. We want them to come back here. We want to have further investigations carried out." To date, Thai police have yet to respond to the request.